Welcome to another episode of Chasing Labels. I'm your host, Stephen Billings. And is that a question? I don't know. But is your other host here? I don't know.
I am.
Oh,
I am
shit.
indeed.
There he is. God, I can't even.
Yes.
He's
I was
scary.
waiting for you to get to that finish line of introducing me, so I didn't know when to jump in.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
I
but
like to
yeah,
make. I like to make these openings interesting because,
it's all improv.
It's
It's
all
all
improv.
improv. It's like Saturday Night Live, except way less professional,
Yes.
I guess.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes they're
Sometimes
not
it's
very.
also not professional
It's,
there
it's
either.
pretty bad sometimes. But welcome to Chasing Labels, episode 120. 120.
Indeed.
Nice round 120. You like that,
Yeah,
don't you?
nice round 120. I do like that. I like that. I like the nice chunk numbers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
intervals of 20s, you know what I mean, or
Yeah,
something
it's nice.
with a nice zero at the end. So you're at the end or the beginning of a decade of numbers.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
Cool.
Speaking of which, we are pretty much dead center in the middle of the month, and as always, months go by way too fast, in my opinion, Steven. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's my favorite month, and it's halfway over, and I might cry, but it's okay. Crying's good sometimes.
That's very true. I mean, we do have some sad news to bring up here on on this episode to start things off a bit. So I guess we might as well get into that sad news, because it does go along with everything we've been talking about since we've started this thing. But it looks like another one bites the dust. If you go by
Oh,
Queen's song,
we're gonna. I was gonna say we're gonna talk about Queen. What are you?
oh no, I
No.
mean we're gonna talk about how another brick and mortar store decides, you know what, we don't want to sell movies or physical media anymore, so we're gonna go away with it next year. And now we just had the news from Target a couple of weeks ago, and now we have my old faithful, my old reliable Best Buy
Not
is
reliable.
not reliable anymore. Is stabbing me in the heart
Yeah.
once again, but
Well,
permanently
it's
this
been a
time.
slow. It's been a slow burn over the last few years.
It's been a slow death with a
Yeah.
slight glimmer of hope. By
Yeah,
hope, I mean
kinda.
like they still have stuff, and you can go there and spend a couple of minutes browsing whatever derelict shelves they have. So you still can have that feeling of the good old days. And then now they're just like, no, go fuck yourself, die, and go away.
Sure.
Don't ever
Yeah.
walk back in this store again, because I'm never going to step into a Best Buy store ever again because I have no reason to go there now. And I've seen that actual sentiment from a lot of people. Is like, us collectors and fans and stuff. The only
Um.
reason we were going to those stores was to buy. I know Target's a little more wide ranging, but Best Buy has a much more, specific type of people who go there.
Well, but to be honest, I buy a lot of things from Best Buy. I buy laptops and I've bought most of my TVs there. Of course,
Same
TV.
here.
That's what few and far between. I don't buy TV, but every 10 years,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's like.
That's what I'm saying.
But
I'll buy a TV there once every 8-9 years. I'll buy
yeah.
a laptop once every 7-8 years, but I wouldn't go there normally to like browse for laptops.
Well,
Like every
they
week.
also have accessories for things that I might need, and so there's reasons to go to Best Buy. But yeah, I mean, one of the few places left that is kind of a wide, it's a public thing. It's easy to find. Best Buy, big letters, will no longer have physical media movies in it. Sometime next year, they're saying. Nothing. We don't know for sure when exactly. They saying, I think it said like first quarter, but I doubt you'll see all the movies out of the stores by March next year.
I think they definitely want to obviously get through the holiday season
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Black Friday sales and holiday sales
And you got to go
all
through
that stuff.
stock.
Yeah, for the new year and
Yeah,
whatnot.
and of course, when we're talking about this isn't just in the store, but this is also their online business as well.
That's another thing that's fascinating to
yeah.
me too. Like it's not just online, it's not just in store, it's online as well. So they're just like, we're not selling it at all. We don't want to make any money. We don't want to make
Yeah,
any extra money.
I don't know what the I don't know if this is a cutback strategy. I don't know, but it's at this point, I guess in a sense, I'm numb to it because it's like I haven't been able to go do this thing anyway. So in the sense of the pleasure of it, it doesn't bother me because it's just another thing taken away from us. Now, of course, in the kind of wider scope of this whole thing, this is a negative thing. Because as more places get taken away that don't sell physical media, whatever's left over is going to raise the prices. If you think about, when something corners the market, something has kind of the has the go-to place for something. When they corner that and they know that they're the only place you can go, they'll start to raise the prices on you.
They can
So
price things.
Amazon,
Yeah, they can price it whatever they want.
yeah, because
I
there's
mean,
no
obviously,
competition.
yeah,
There's no
market
competition.
dictates things and all that kind of stuff. It's
Sure.
all economic bullshit. It's a wazi, it's a woozy. It doesn't fucking exist. As Matthew McConaughey said in Wolf of Wall Street, talking about the stock market. I mean, that's kind of how I view the price of things too, where it's like it's kind of arbitrarily made up based off of algorithms and bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's really not.
I guess,
It's
yeah.
not. It's not tangible. But I understand what you're saying. It's like the options are shrinking and shrinking. But what we've seen and what we've covered here on the podcast is there are avenues now that we've discovered as collectors and movie fans that we may have not been aware of before or weren't really available to us before, like 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, we've got all of these now online outlets, which is really where things have blossomed, in my opinion. Orbit DVD, who we worked a lot with, Diabolic DVD, Grindhouse Video is another one. I mean, there are, and Bull Moose is another website, and there are other websites as well that I just can't remember from off the top of my head. And those have been really profiting very well from online sales and stuff like that. At least from just
From what we
word of
can
mouth.
tell, yeah,
Yeah, just from
business
word
is
of
good.
mouth.
But it's, hopefully, as the circle of life is in this business, maybe the losing of this business where it's at will sprout smaller, more businesses of smaller places. Maybe we'll start to see some more local, independent Orbit DVD style stores pop up in places, because there needs to be something that covers what is missing. Now, there has, been some interesting things popping up. Of course, we have the whole Walmart taking on distribution for, physical media recently, kind of saying, hey, we want that. We'll do that since nobody else wants it. There's that news. And then there's also that tidbit of news we saw about Netflix.
I was just thinking that same thing. You read my mind.
Opening up their own stores. And it's like, so they want to start selling, I guess, probably merch and I would assume physical media of their shows in their store. Like,
that's what I was thinking as well. And it's interesting to me because it feels like I wasn't aware you could buy Netflix merch, but apparently you can. Apparently you can online. They plan to open their first of two of these Netflix house locations in unannounced cities in the United States in 2025.
I'm
My
assuming
guess,
New York and LA.
that's my guess as well. My guess as well. They go through like a whole thing. We've seen how much fans love to immerse themselves in the world of our movies and TV shows, and we've been thinking a lot about how we take that to the next level. They got to push it to the limit.
Well, this is the problem with Netflix. There's too much shit. So, like, you're not, I don't know what exactly something like this will do for their business other than make what that's already popular more popular.
And from what I've read, they're trying to turn it into like, it's going to be like part store merchandise and stuff like that, part entertainment place and part restaurant. So is it like the Hard Rock Cafe?
Yeah, I was gonna say Hard Rock Cafe.
Netflix.
Yeah.
They're trying to do, I guess, what Disney has done. They have the Disney store and
I don't hate the
stuff.
idea. It's just like, unless you're gonna invest. How it's hard because Netflix got so much bullshit on their streaming service. Like, there's so much stuff that they make that you forget about.
Not only that, but I feel like their major marketing stuff that they could have used to really market their stores and stuff are all like in the past now. Like all their big hit shows, all their big hit movies.
They're all aging
gone.
out.
They're
Like
all
Stranger
gone
Things
now.
is their biggest thing that's going to end.
Stranger Things is its final season's coming up.
Yeah.
Once that's gone, it's you can't remarket that. Well, I guess you can do what
I
Disney
mean, you
does
can
into the
continue
dust.
like anything like Harry Potter, you can continue to advertise it and make more things for it, make
Right.
action figures, make things all like that, but,
I feel
I
like
mean
you wanted to strike while the iron was hot when this thing
yeah,
was like like super part of the zeitgeist, like had
yeah.
everybody's attention. I mean, even their earlier stuff like Orange is the New Black and House of Cards, and then even stuff now with like The Witcher with Henry Cavill. I mean, they had to, they've replaced him now, so the interest in that show's waning. But it's like you wanted to strike while the
Yeah.
iron's hot, not while like the streaming bubble is shrinking and they're
Well,
like
I mean,
losing the
and then
money,
at this point, I don't know what you would consider their most popular show. I mean, they have the numbers, I don't. But, like, I know that for me and my experience with Netflix right now, um, the most popular thing for me is Gabby's Dollhouse, which is what my baby likes loves to watch, and I know it's a
Yeah,
popular show.
yeah, of course there is always the children's angle, you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
That will definitely be
children's
something I'm sure they
programming and
exploit in their store.
characters,
Yeah,
you
you know,
know, all of that stuff. Yeah, which is always an endless market to market to.
yeah.
Because once you get the kids hooked, then you can get the parents money. You know
I
what I
just
mean?
don't know what else they have. I don't pay
Right.
attention to enough of Netflix to know what is their most popular stuff. They invest a lot in stand up. They invest a
Yeah.
lot in,
And it's not like Netflix is not like a Disney where Disney has Marvel, Disney has Star Wars, Disney has their catalog
I mean,
of Disney
there's
characters and all
yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of stuff. Netflix has always been kind of like a mercenary brand of just like whatever's hot in the moment,
And
you
they're
know?
so and the thing is they're so young, they don't have the legacy to feel
Hmm.
like any of
Oh
their
yeah. I
stuff
mean,
is like other than like what you've already brought up, like Stranger Things and Orange is the New Black and House of Cards. For which House of Cards, I don't see how you advertise that in your store. Like, ooh, get House of Cards
yeah,
merchandise. Like
a deck of cards. Here's a shirt with
with
characters on
Kevin
it.
Spacey on
But I
it.
was saying
Like,
at the time it was part of the zeitgeist and whatnot. But this was
sure.
like a decade ago at this point. Even with Orange is the New Black, it ended years ago. But but it just seems like with Netflix, it's always like what's hot now versus what's consistently hot.
Yeah.
Disney is celebrating their 100th year, so they've got 100 years worth of
Yeah.
stuff to market.
They're gonna like I said, it's gonna be a lot of like minute shit.
It's
You
kind of like
know?
it's not even like I remember when I was a little kid. I went to the Mall of America and they had the Warner Brothers store, and they
Yeah.
would have the Looney Tunes, they would have Scooby Doo, Yogi Bear, all kinds of stuff, and it's like all their marketing, all their brands of characters and material and all kinds of stuff. I don't know if Netflix is at that point yet where they can do that, but I guess they're gonna
But
try
hey,
in a
I
small dose.
I'm rooting for him because I think I like the idea of a physical store that has cool stuff in it. I mean, that's fine, and it's got a restaurant. It seems like it's going to be kind of fun, but I'm sure this is going to be a long process. They're going to test it out. I'm sure it'll only be in major cities, and then it'll slowly spread out through the years to more states. It's gonna be one of them things that's probably really small that most of us will never get to experience. But we should move on from all that. But it
Yeah,
is sad. It is
it
sad.
is very
Ultimately,
sad.
it's sad that Best Buy is deciding to get out of the game. Hopefully,
Yeah.
somebody steps up and takes the mantle. Of course, all our smaller, our Diabolic, our Orbits are doing a great job keeping us. But the wider public that does not know about these places need to place, and hopefully somebody steps up. Maybe Walmart will be that thing. Who knows? But yeah, of course,
Yeah,
sad. Yeah,
yeah. Best Buy is a special place where I started a lot of my collecting there, which I
yeah,
think many people probably have the same collecting story at whatever specific store or place.
yeah.
But moving on from there, we do have new announcements to get into this week. We've got a nice Criterion slate to round out everything, but we've got some other interesting little tidbits here and there. Um, I I want to first bring up a movie that I have not seen yet, but it's a movie that I am really fascinated by is this movie called Goodbye Dragon Inn, which is coming out December 12th from Kino Lorber. It's not Kino Lorber Studio Classics. It's also not even Kino Lorber straight up. It's from their distribution partner, Metrograph, who
Yeah.
we've talked about a few times. They've got some things in the pipeline that are coming up. I believe, like, yeah, they have a few things. I almost said Eric Romer films, but I couldn't remember if that was Metrograph or not. Um, but so this is the way they sold it to me. This first line got me hooked. Like the Royal Theater in the Last Picture Show and the title movie house in Cinema Paradiso. You already got me. You already
Got it.
got me. The Fuho is shutting down for good. The Fuho's valedictory screening is King Hu's 1967 wuxia epic Dragon Inn. Playing to a motley smattering of spectators, the standard grievances persist. Patrons snack noisily and remove their shoes. That's something you should never do in a movie
Asshole.
theater.
Gross.
Treating this temple of cinema like their living room. The sense that moviegoing is as a communal experience is slipping away takes on a powerful and painful resonance. Yet Seeming Lang's Goodbye Dragon Inn is too multifaceted to collapse into a simple Valentine to the age of pre-VOD cinephilia. A minimalist where King Hu was a maximalist, preferred long static shocks and sparse use of dialogue, say rises to narrative challenges he sets for himself and offers the slyest, most delicate of character arcs. I believe it centers around a manager who is a young woman in an with an iron brace on her leg and embarks on a torturous odyssey to deliver food to the projectionist played by Ling Kang Chang. By the time the possibility arises, the theater is haunted. By the time the possibility arises that the theater is haunted, we've already identified it as a space outside of time. This is very magical. Indeed, two stars of Who's original opus, Mao Tian and Shi Chun, watch their younger selves with tears in their eyes, past, present, commingling harmoniously and poignantly. 4K restoration by Cinematex, the Royal Film Archive of Belgium. It's got an audio commentary and introduction by Nick Pinkerton. But this just looks fascinating to me. I just kind of love this whole concept of um the fantasy element of cinema, the
Yeah.
magic of cinema, its wondrousness, its you know, captivating essence that it has. I know a few years ago, I believe this was already released by, I want to say Eureka in the UK in 2020. That's why I actually couldn't find any info on this release because it just kept coming up. Yeah, Goodbye Dragon Inn came out in 2020. Maybe not by Eureka. Second Run, actually. I'm way off.
Mm.
So Second Run put it out, and yeah, it's a movie I've never heard of until this past week.
I mean, obviously, Dragon Inn is a movie I've heard of, but Goodbye Dragon Inn, for some reason, I feel like I do remember hearing about this movie from somebody. But I'll tell you, the review on the front of this is glowing. The greatest film of the last 125 years, which is essentially all of cinema.
All of cinema ever.
Yeah.
So I've seen Dragon Inn because I believe Dragon Inn's been put out on
Criterion.
Blu-ray by Criterion, as
Yeah.
well as a couple of other King Hu films. A great Chinese director with great martial arts work. It is streaming. The movie
Okay,
Dragon Inn is streaming.
you're going
the
on a
Criterion
tangent.
channel.
You're going on a tangent.
I just wanted to mention that that Dragon Inn is a movie that does exist.
Well, it does. I wasn't making that up.
Well, I feel like when you have a movie that's based around the love of another movie, I kind of want to see that movie that they're talking about.
Well,
So
yeah,
I get
definitely.
the
Yeah,
context. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
So that's Goodbye Dragon Inn, which yeah, I'm gonna keep my eye on Metrograph because they're doing a lot of interesting work.
Yeah.
Yeah, another one that I wanted to talk about, which I've got to scroll back up and find now because I completely lost it. Here we go. Made in Hong Kong, a film by Fruit Chan. This came out in 1997. This film, and yeah, this one's coming out on December 19th. This is being put out by Kino Lorber straight up. So the first independent film released in post handover Hong Kong.
No, this is a Metrograph as well.
Is it a Metrograph?
Yeah.
It doesn't mention here on the thing, but
says it on the bottom corner of that poster.
Oh god damn it, doesn't it? It does. Metrograph Pictures.
Yeah.
Killing me. Ruined my whole pitch here.
Yeah.
Either way, the first independent film released in post handover Hong Kong, director Fruit Chan's atmospheric shoestring budget character study is a rough and ready piece of work shot on grainy leftover 35 millimeter short ends in the city's overcrowded subsidized housing projects. Yeah, that in and of itself kind of hooked me.
Yeah.
the movie's going to look like this kind of gritty, almost homemade, avant-garde,
So
documentary type of
so
thing.
so even in China, they were going through a '90s grimy scene
Mm.
like we were.
I
You know,
also
where
love this next line where it says, "The result is a tough, pessimistic film, a portrait of a city on the brink that follows the drifting of high school dropout and wannabe triad, tough Autumn Moon, um, who was portrayed by Sam Lee in a star-making role opposite a largely non-professional cast, who sees little hope for his future of that of his home as a newly created special administrative region within China. A raw, groundbreaking drama and portrait of nihilistic youth in the same vein as A Rebel Without a Cause and My Own Private Idaho and The Doom Generation, the Greg Araki film, which I've talked about recently. The film poses questions that remain burningly relevant as tumult engulfs Hong Kong. Yes, this was a 4K restoration. It's got an audio commentary by certain critics. Um, yeah, this looks very interesting. I'm very interested about what all the stuff Metrograph is doing in their partnership with Kino.
yeah,
It seems like some good, interesting films are being unearthed.
yeah, definitely. Um, let's see what else we got. I guess we should continue with Kino since we keep talking about Kino related things.
Okay.
We have the 1986 film Running Scared. Did we talk about that?
I hold on. I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling down to where I need to be. Um, so we talked about the Quartermass experiment, and then the next one I've got from there is um, House of the Long Shadows from 1983. Did you see that, Stephen?
Just keep talking. You're good. I'll
Okay,
find it.
so House of the Long Shadows. The reason why I want to bring this up because the cast in this movie, Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing,
Terrible.
John Carradine, and
Terrible.
Desi Arnaz Jr.,
Oh
who is the
God.
son of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Little Ricky from the I Love Lucy show is in this movie. Um, there's a reason why he's all the way like was that fifth bill on this list of people.
There's a reason. Yeah.
So we do get a decent amount of screen time shared between these absolute stars of horror: Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and John Carradine from the famous, Hollywood family of the Carradines. And this movie is pretty entertaining in my opinion. I just love seeing all of these people on screen together. So yeah, they call them the high priests of horror, which makes a lot of sense with Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and John Carradine. Um, yeah, they unite under the same gothic roof in the wickedly entertaining House of the Long Shadows. Great title. When a young novelist, Desi Arnaz, spends a night at a Baldpat Manor to win a bet that he can turn out a best-selling thriller in 24 hours, he gets more than he wagers on. So basically, yeah. Desi Arnaz Jr. plays this guy who's an author. He makes a bet with this rich, some royal guy who's like, "I'll bet you $20,000 that you can't write like a great American novel or great novel in 24 hours at this mansion that I own." And it's this old, like dilapidated mansion that's like in the middle of the countryside, and he goes there in the middle of the night, and there just happens to be people like who keep showing up. And some of them say, like, oh, yeah, we're the caretakers. But guess what? This place doesn't have caretakers. Who are these people? Are they real? Are they ghosts? Are they trespassers? Who are they? And then as the night goes on, like I said, more and more show up, like Vincent Price and Peter Cushing um, and all these people. And so it's fun. It's a really, really fun, entertaining thing. And as always, it's amazing to see these legends on screen all together. I think this was the last time they may have been all on screen together, all three of them.
Mm,
But it's a really fun and entertaining movie. I rather enjoyed it, and I just man, I've become such a big fan of Vincent Price and Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. I've watched more of their work in the last 2 years than I have in the previous, like, 30 years of my life.
Oh, I'm
I'm like,
sure. Yeah.
oh, yeah. I mean,
Severin,
it's kinda
Severin,
wild.
and Severin and otherwise have kept us busy on that.
Oh, very
With
much.
box sets of Christopher Lee, and now Peter Cushing's getting a box set from Severin coming up. So yeah, it's
Yeah, so
a lot of that.
that's the House of the Long Shadows, which is really cool. And then I think we go to Running Scared, which is a movie we had talked about before because
Okay.
they had announced this release, and this is actually a re-release of an edition they have already put out.
Okay.
Um, it's is some people were like, "Hey, didn't you already put this out?" Well, yes, they have. Um, they put this out a couple of years ago because I know a lot of people got it, and I wanna say, yeah, no, this is the same transfer as our 2014 release, but encoded at a higher bit rate and on a dual layered BD50 disk, giving the feature 30 megabits per second or more, so it should look better than the previous release that was on a BD25 single layered disk, and we added a slipcase for all you slipcase enthusiasts. Um, that that's that. First of all, this movie is directed by Peter Hyams, who I think is underrated director that we bring up more times than I think anyone else brings up. Peter Hyams directed 2010, the year we made contact, the I guess follow up to 2001: A Space Odyssey. Technically,
Sure.
I mean I don't know how you follow up that movie in any real way. But of course, he directed. I bring this up every time, Steven. End of Days. Arnold Schwarzenegger
Such a
fighting
good
the
one.
devil.
Such
Come
a
on
classic.
now. It's gotta
Put the
happen.
pitchfork down.
Oh, I
He
remember when
doesn't
that
say
movie
that.
came out.
I'm adding that. Yeah.
Yeah, just add it to the movie. But he also
Yeah.
directed the Presidio, kind of an underrated movie. He directed Time Cop with
Van
Jean-Claude Van
Damme.
Damme. Outland, which we've brought up a few times, Capricorn One. Um, so I'm getting you get the gist of who Peter Hyams is, but he directed this film called Running Scared, and it's a buddy cop comedy from 1986 starring Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. So you're getting kind of a Lethal Weapon movie, but with more comedy in it because
Okay.
you've got these two actors. You also like a few other people you'll notice pop up in it: Stephen Bauer, Joe Pantoliano, Dan Hedaya. Jimmy Smits is like the main bad guy that they're going after in this movie. A young Jimmy Smits, looking
Yeah.
ever so handsome. So two streetwise Chicago cops have to shake off some rust after returning from a Key West vacation to pursue a drug dealer, portrayed by Jimmy Smits, who nearly killed them in the past. Yeah, it's a fun, entertaining movie. I mean, I
Cool.
really like it. I liked it way more than I thought I would. So it was a nice surprise for me.
Fantastic. All right. So we've talked about Sinners.
You want to
But
talk about one of the worst movies that I think Kino could possibly put out right now? Um,
I guess it's
yeah, I'll go from a big surprise to like a pleasant surprise to something that I'm like, this actually warrants all the hate it gets. Um, this is a
okay.
movie called The Man Who Wasn't There from 1983, newly restored in 3D. It's a 3D movie, Steven. I know you love those,
I
especially from the
don't.
80s. You do.
I
Um,
I don't.
So this movie is a comedy, but it's not funny, which I guess is the worst thing a
So it's
comedy
not a
can be.
comedy. It's a bomedy.
Oh yeah, it really is. So they're really overselling the hell out of it. First of all, the movie's an hour and 51 minutes, and it's agonizing to get through at
Jesus
times.
Christ.
It's the wildest, funniest, fastest moving adventure comedy you've never seen. I don't recommend people to see it. Starring Steve Guttenberg, which was why I guess I thought it was going to be funny. Stars as Sam Cooper, a minor State Department worker functionary in Washington, D.C., who becomes the object of a frenetic chase when a dying scientist agent hands him a vial containing a top secret formula that can render a person invisible. Sam immediately drinks the formula because, if someone hands you something that you don't know what it is, you immediately drink it. Um, and he drinks it to turn himself invisible to keep one step ahead of the Soviet spies, American counter spies, and the police who are all after him. They think he committed a murder. They think he murdered the guy that he got the formula from, but he obviously didn't. He just wrong place at the wrong time. Um, Basically, everybody's after him in this movie, and he's trying to get away, but he's trying to uncover the like the mystery behind this invisible. formula thing. The formula looks like Tide, like the blue Tide detergent that you use to clean your clothes. Like it looks like that. It looks very unpleasant. But he drinks it and goes invisible sometimes, and it's played for comedy. Like he shows up in like a woman's locker room and gets
Of
all
course.
perverted and gross
Yeah.
because it's the 80s and
Yeah.
that's what they did for comedy. He's walking around like wearing clothes when he's invisible, so like the clothes are floating, people are getting freaked out and stuff, and I'm like, this is so unfunny. This is so bad. And yeah, it's not good. Jeffrey Tambor is in the movie as like he's doing this Russian accent. I don't know. He sounds like Boris from Boris and Natasha from uh, Bullwinkle and Rocky.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie. Yeah, this movie's not good at all. It's
Okay.
really, really bad.
So Andrew
I
doesn't like this movie.
Yeah, let's
So
just
it's the
undercut that. It's really not good.
so let's
Like
look at it
usually
as
when I see,
I was gonna
you
say
know,
let's look at it as the movie that wasn't there.
let me put it this way: there are a lot of other movies that use the invisible formula thing that are so much better than this.
Hollow Man.
Hollow Man does it. I mean, the original Invisible Man does it. There's a bunch of Invisible Man sequels too. I mean, the recent Invisible Man movie did it as well.
Except his was technology.
What's that?
Well, except his was technology, not a
Yeah,
potion.
very true.
Yeah.
So moving on from there, we got to get out. We got to get something better. So we got, I guess, just detailed information on one of the Kino cult releases that we already talked about. Sinner, the secret diary of an infomaniac, which is Kino cult number 4. We got a list of new commentary by Tim Lucas, plus interviews with a couple of actresses and the editor. And moving on from there is actually a very interesting release. A bit of a re-release in my opinion. It's getting a brand new restoration from a 16-bit 4K scan of the 35 millimeter nitrate composite fine grain. Say that 5 times fast. Damn. This is Scarlet Street from 1945, the film starring Edward G. Robinson, Joan Bennett, and Dan Duryea.
So
Um,
is he the Incredible Hulk in this movie?
is it because he's green?
Yeah, why is he
It's because
green?
I'm green, isn't it?
Yeah. Or he's Kermit the Frog. I don't know which one. I haven't decided yet.
He- um, if anything, he may be like green with sickness in this movie because um, this is a movie. First of all, this is a film noir coming out in 1945. This is the premise of it. Cashier and part-time starving artist Christopher Cross is absolutely smitten with the beautiful Kitty March. Kitty plays along, but she's really only interested in Johnny, a two-bit crook. When Kitty and Johnny find out that art dealers are interested in Chris's work, they con him into letting Kitty take credit for the paintings. Cross allows it because he is in love with Kitty, but his love will only let her get away with so much. So basically, Edward G. Robinson is getting played in this movie like a fool by these two con people. And yeah, that's the movie. It's really, really good. It's directed by Fritz Lang. I don't know if I gotta
There
say
you go.
more. It's directed by Fritz Lang. There you
There
go.
you go.
Boom. Um, it's it's really it's a movie that I saw years ago. It's a movie that's been available from Kino 2012. So this is a movie that has been in their catalog for seemingly ever. I probably many people have that Blu-ray. I know
Yeah.
I've thought about buying it many, many times, but this is a new 4K restoration of this movie. So if anything is going to look better. I mean, I don't know if we've got anything in the way of new special features yet. No, they didn't announce anything. It's one of those where maybe they're waiting to announce it. It's only a Blu-ray. It's not a 4K, so don't get super excited about that. Um, it's so yeah. Steven, have you ever seen Scarlet Street or no?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's one of them things where I buy so much film noir and have watched so much film noir that sometimes I just don't know if I've watched something.
I feel
Um,
you. I mean, it's yeah. You don't. My mind is all jumbled. That's why I have to keep track of everything on. Um.
well, I don't own it. I can tell you that. So I
Okay,
probably
you don't
haven't
own
seen
it.
it.
It is okay, so it's a remake of Jean Renoir's films La Chienne from 1931. I wanted to make sure that's something of note because La Chienne has a Blu-ray release from Criterion. I think it's available to stream on the Criterion channel as well. I think that's where I watched it. And it's the same premise. La Chienne, Maurice Legrand is a meat cashier married to a nagging wife, but he has a secret passion. He's a Sunday painter. He falls in love with Lulu, these names,
Hmm.
a young woman dominated by Dee Dee, the pimp who she works for. And Dee Dee pushes Lulu into a relationship with Maurice Legrand. So it's another one of machinations, manipulation, taking advantage of people's emotions, taking advantage of people's vulnerabilities, insecurities, all of that stuff. It's a tale as old as time, really. Really, it is.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
All right. Well, I
Yeah,
think we
so
got one more up here,
we
or a
got a
couple. We
biggie
got
actually.
couple more. Yeah.
The next one, speaking of um for the potential 4K UHD releases, this is gigantic. So coming soon on 4K UHD and Blu-ray, hold the phone now, is
Fear
Stanley
and
Kubrick's
Desire.
Fear and Desire from
Yeah, say it like that.
1952. This is one of his earliest films, may in fact be his earliest film. This was a movie that he tried to buy all of the copies of, all of the prints of, and have them destroyed because he didn't want people to see how amateur of a filmmaker he was in his early days, I guess. Excuse
Bless you.
me. Um, and yeah, I've owned this movie on Blu-ray for many, many years. Kino put out a Blu-ray of this probably over a decade ago. Part of their Kino Classics line, their big white cases and whatnot, not really restored, but they weren't really doing restorations back then. They were just kind of giving us the movies on Blu-ray that were never on Blu-ray before. There was like this, there was Nosferatu, there was a bunch of other movies. But this is an interesting kind of student film, experimental film that Stanley Kubrick did in his early life. Four soldiers trapped behind enemy lines must confront their fears and desires. Um, I believe the making of this movie is Stanley. Yeah, it's like Stanley Kubrick went out with like four guys and shot a movie on like an island somewhere. And it's just them trying to survive. But there's a lot of like early um Stanley Kubrick isms in this movie that I found at least. But it's been many years since I've seen it. But yeah, he denounced. Yeah, it says here in the trivia on IMDb, Stanley Kubrick later denounced this film as amateurish, saying he considered it like a child's drawing on a fridge. Jeez, shitting on your own work
Get
there,
over
Stanley.
it. Get over
I
it.
know. So yeah, it's a fictitious war in an unidentified country provides the setting for this drama. Four soldiers survive the crash landing of their plane to find themselves in a forest 6 miles behind enemy lines. The group, led by Lieutenant Corby, has a plan. They'll make their way to a nearby river, build a raft, and then, under cover of night, float back to friendly territory. Their plans for getting back safely are sidetracked by a young woman who stumbles across them as they hide in the woods, and by the nearby presence of an enemy general who one of the group is determined to kill. We got a lot of things going on in this movie. The movie only runs like an hour and 2 minutes. It's super short. It's a super short movie. Um, but to get a new restoration of this in 4K, I am really, really fascinated by how this is going to look. Um, yeah,
Cool.
I yeah, it says here this special edition will include both cuts of Fear and Desire and the Kubrick short films Flying Padre, Day of the Fight, and The Seafarers from 1951, 1951, and 1953, respectively, all newly restored in 4K and available for the first time in HDR/Dolby Vision. Yeah, this is going to be available. The film itself will be available in HDR Dolby Vision as well. So yeah, we don't have a date on this yet. I'm assuming next year sometime. And with Kino, it could very well be a year for all we know.
Who knows? Yeah.
So
All right.
that is it for Kino.
All right. Well, how about we move over to Via Vision? Or is there
Okay.
anything else you want to talk about before we Via
No,
Vision?
Via Vision sounds good to me.
All right. So Via Vision had, they're the main parent company of Imprint Films, and they always seem to like to come out with a whole bunch of stuff, mostly pretty popular things. compared to what they do with imprint, where it's a lot more, deeper catalog stuff. But this is the slew of movies we got coming out. First off, a big one here, 1989's Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze, Sam Elliott. Of course, awesome film. We also have the Gate film collection. There's two the Gate movies. And then we have the original classic, The Magnificent Seven, getting a Blu-ray. And then we're also getting a double pack of the Fistful of Dollars and A Few Dollars More, of course, starring Clint Eastwood. Yeah, that's our little slate there.
Yeah, know the good, the bad, and the ugly, but you do get the first two.
Yeah, well, that's okay. It's been released like a bajillion times.
It has.
You'll find it somewhere.
The Gate is a very fun movie.
Is it?
It is streaming. I think it's streaming on Shudder and maybe Tubi right now. Just don't quote me on that.
Tubi.
I know. So yeah, it has The Gate and The Gate 2. I've only ever seen clips from those movies. I've never seen the actual movie.
But you just said it was fun.
Of course, we've seen Roadhouse, Stephen. We've talked about Roadhouse so much.
Of course, we've seen Roadhouse.
That Vinegar Syndrome release.
It's pretty premium. I don't.
Good.
It's pretty rough. Unless you don't have that and you don't really care that much. This might be the one for you. This is This is probably region A. Is what most of these Australian releases end up being region free. So you'll probably be able to get this in America if you really want it. And you're not region free at home. So, but it looks like it's going to have some a decent amount of features. Probably some that have already been on other releases. Maybe some new ones here. I see one that's remembering Patrick Swayze. I don't know. I'm not sure if any of these are new. Could be just from other releases, but yeah. I mean, looks like they're pretty standard releases. I'm not seeing a ton of new. I'm not seeing any new features really,
right?
Or anything labeled as new. So
yeah, these are not imprint releases. So yeah. So for those of you maybe confused by that, no, that's just straight from Viavision themselves or Viavision.
But
yeah, nothing in the way. There was one more Kino that we forgot to talk about. I don't know if you want me to backtrack on that really quickly.
Well, I figured I was wondering why you skipped it, but I was skipping it because you apparently you didn't think it was important, so I skipped it. The Clive Barker Underworld, is that what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, it's a movie written by Clive Barker. It's called Clive Barker's Underworld, also known as Transmutations. It's coming out December 19th on 4K UHD. 2-disc edition, mind you. And it's part of Kino Cult.
This is I was gonna say this is number 5.
Number 5, yeah. This came out in 1985. It says from the strange imagination of Clive Barker comes Underworld.
Sure, you could call it strange.
Yeah, a hidden realm of cul-de-sacs, dark, dangerous waters, and a labyrinth of tunnels inhabited by the ghoulish victims of a cruel chemical experiment. When high-class hooker Nicole is kidnapped, businessman Hugo Motherskill
that's a name for you.
Hires her ex-lover, the devil-may-care Roy Bain, to find her. Bain traces her disappearance to the diabolical Dr. Severin, who supplies a weird white powder to a secret cabal of mutant sewer dwellers. This was weird white powder may in fact be cocaine. If it's the 80s, it's a good chance it is. Under the city, out of sight, they wait, plunge. If you dare, into the spine-tingling and neon-drenched underworld, also known as Transmutations. Directed by George Pavlou, who directed Rawhead Rex, and starring Denholm Elliott, Steven Berkoff, Larry Lamb, Miranda Richardson, Art Malik, Nicola Cowper, Irina Brooke, and horror goddess Ingrid Pitt, who is the only name of any of those people that I actually know. But yeah, this is written by Clive Barker, which would be the only reason I would watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I mean, it's good seeing Clive Barker stuff all coming out, because he didn't do a ton of stuff, but it seems like everything that he has done, they're trying to get it out there. So,
or at least had his name on.
Yeah.
I mean, anything that has his name on, I think, this is pre Hellraiser, mind you. Hellraiser came out, I believe, 1987. So this is before he wrote and directed that, based off, I think, based off his own book. Um, yeah, he's done a lot of stuff outside of movies, books and comic books and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, yeah, he also wrote the screenplay for Rawhead Rex, um, which came out after Underworld. So, and just hearing the fact that the premise of the movie is dealing with like underground weird mutations and all this kind of stuff, reminds me of like Hellraiser, reminds me of Nightbreed, which he would go on to work on afterward. Like I said, um, yeah, I really like Clive Barker's mind and ambition. Sometimes the stuff doesn't translate well to the screen. I mean, just because I think he was probably a man far ahead of his time, really,
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
came to like a lot of his ideas and a lot of his stuff. But I do like Nightbreed a lot. That's a movie I really wish I had in my collection. I also I don't own any Hellraiser films at all.
What?
Now that I think about it, no, I don't own any of them. I've never owned them on DVD, never owned them on VHS, never owned them on Blu-ray. But the 4Ks, I believe, are coming out from Arrow. At least of the first, was it the first
3.
four?
The
Okay,
4. No, it is 4, I think.
yeah, I think it is four.
But really, the first 2 are the only ones that you need to
To be
see.
honest, I've seen, the first two are really, really good in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
I think we brought that up when we talked about them. But yeah, so that's Transmutation / Underworld. Now we'll go back down to Australia. We talked about Via Vision. Now we're going to talk about Umbrella.
Umbrella
Umbrella's back again with some more stuff.
raining
Um,
down upon us.
so they've got their January releases. Hey now, starting
You're an
off the new
all-star.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace, by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Smash Mouth, soundtrack of the '90s for many of us.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a pair of 4 releases here. First up here is, man, if you did not get your hands on their Blu-ray release of the Super Mario Brothers movie, I got some good news for you. You can get your hands on the 4K UHD release of the Super
Shit.
Super Mario Brothers movie. Sorry, Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, um, um, what's his
Dennis
name is in the
Hopper.
movie? Dennis Hopper playing King Koopa. What a movie! This movie needs like its own show, to be honest, just to get into. Um, it is Super Mario Brothers, but it's Super Mario Brothers in the most '90s weird way you've ever seen. Did you watch this movie when you were a kid? I don't know if we've ever talked about it on air before.
Maybe. I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I just-
Never a fan of Super Mario.
I think you've brought that up before.
Yeah, I was never a fan of like
Because you
any of
didn't play
these.
the games, right?
Yeah, never really played Crash Bandicoot and all these games that everybody acts like is like the best fucking games in the world that I don't ever honestly, I played video games, but honestly, I as I've gotten older, I don't have a fond look back at playing video games with any kind of like, man, I remember when I used to do this and play, like I don't feel like I enjoyed it that much. I don't care. Like I had every game system. I had Nintendo 64. I don't look back on them times and being like, man, that was so much fun. I'm just like, I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time playing video games for many hours.
Oh, I mean, yeah, my whole childhood, really. Hours and hours of playing GoldenEye, playing
There's a shamefulness to
all
it.
kinds
Like,
of stuff.
like I'm like, man, I
GoldenEye,
spent a lot of time.
Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a lot of Mario Kart, played a lot of Mario, really. My first introduction to video games ever was Super Mario Brothers game for NES, which I still have.
Yeah.
I still have my original NES. It doesn't work, but I still have it. I tried to fix it about 10 or 11 years ago, and then I just gave up on trying to fix it, basically.
I mean, honestly, like playing sports games probably are the things that I would still go back to do now if I had the time to do it. Like I like playing baseball games, or like there's some tennis games I play, but like anything where there's like these elaborate story, like I've tried playing some of these like elaborate story narrative games, and I'm like, this is just too much investment. Like I can't invest this much time in this. I tried playing one of these newer Star Wars games. I'm like, this is way too much. I can't. No, I'll be here for hours. I can't do this. Um,
It's really well, the video I mean, this is a whole side story here. The video game world has become massive.
it's too
I
much.
think
Yeah.
within the last 10 to 20 years, it's really exploded onto, like, if you're a gamer, it's a big part of your life and your identity and what you do. You dedicate hours to that. Your whole online presence is that, your whole everything is that, streaming video games has become something vastly huge. There's professional video game leagues all over the world now. Big money, big sponsorships, big everything. It's like a sport now, really. I mean, it's
Come on
massive.
now. You're not one of these people that calls this a sport, huh?
If somebody's paying me millions of dollars to play a game, it's got to be called something. It's got to be called
I
something.
don't know if I call it a sport.
It's
We gotta
the
define what
sport.
a sport. We gotta just find a sport then.
Well, if we're defining a sport as like
Physical activity.
a competition between two people,
If
I
that's what
mean,
we're considering what a sport is.
yeah, I don't know how one
I don't
defines
know.
a sport.
I
Do
define
you feel
sport
like
as
it needs to be
it needs to be a physical
a physical
activity.
thing? That's the way. Is that what
It's
you
just
mean?
like I don't consider chess a sport.
Okay.
Like that's a that's I don't know. That's more like a competition. I don't know. I don't know how you split hairs on that. I just don't. I don't know. It's just like when people talk to me about cheerleading. Is that a sport?
Well, yeah.
Well, that's gymnastics. Is gymnastics a sport or is it an
It's in the
athletic?
Olympics.
It's
Well,
it's an athletic.
gymnastics is in the Olympics.
It's an athletic. It's not you're not facing off against somebody in an event. You're you're
Well,
pl-
in
you're being
gymnastics, you are.
judged. You're being judged in what you do, but you're not facing off directly against anybody.
Are you talking about cheerleading or you're talking about
Well,
gymnastics?
both. I mean, when
Okay.
you're in gymnastics, are you directly in competition, like with somebody? Like you're doing something, and then people are like, "That was good."
Well,
Then they say,
if you break it down, you're trying to do something better than someone else.
"Sure,
Granted, the way in which you're judged on that is by an arbitrary third
exactly."
person.
And
You
the
know what I
person
mean?
that
So
you're facing, people that you're facing off against, have no way of impeding what
they
you
can't
do.
they can only be better than you. They
Yeah,
can't stop you from being good
yeah,
or whatever.
and that's why I define something like that as an athletic endeavor over a sport. A sport. The word sport to me was created for things like the business of you know football, baseball, where they're teams, and there's some sports that don't require teams like tennis, but they're people directly facing off against each other. I know I'm going on a tangent right
Hmm.
now. This is ridiculous, but I don't know. It's splitting hairs in some ways, but like I don't look at. I mean, they're athletic endeavor. They're definitely athletes. I'm not taking anything away from somebody that does them things. But to me, I feel like I need a better idea of what people consider a sport, because when it's like just mental, like are we going to call that a mental
Well,
sport?
it's interesting because, yeah, how do you define a sport, but how you define competition? How do you define, what, physicality of it all? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it does take some type of endurance
sure,
or some type of physical endurance to do a lot of those things.
of
Obviously,
course.
cheerleading, gymnastics, all those things. Even chess probably takes a lot of mental endurance
Yeah,
and things like that. I mean, take it even one step further, just going with your whole not direct competition with one another. Golf is kind of similar to that, where
yeah,
like you're trying to be better than your opponents or
sure.
opponents, really. Um, damn, I don't know how we got on this conversation. I guess we talked about professional gaming
Yeah,
and
yeah,
whether
it
that's a
is.
sport or not.
Yeah.
However you defined it is massive now, and people getting paid millions of dollars. You
I
know,
I'm sure tons of
it's
people think I'm wrong. I just in my mind, I've always had a narrow thought of when we start talking about the word sport, we got to find a better way you got to categorize it in some way.
I wish
And
there was a better word that you
yeah,
could maybe perhaps use to describe it, but I guess if it's an all-encompassing word, sport is the easiest one to go with. If you're just basing it off of competition. I don't even know how we got on. Oh, because we talked about Super Mario Brothers.
yeah, let's we gotta start speeding up. We got
Yeah, so
so much to talk
so
about here.
after Super Mario Brothers, the movie's become a cult classic. We move on to a couple of their other releases here. Um,
Audition
yes, we've
from
got the Takeshi Miike film Audition, which this has been put out a few times by a bunch of
yeah,
different people. It has a big reputation um, for its gruesomeness.
yeah.
Um, I'll say this: the movie, for the most part, is like a Douglas Sirk romantic melodrama, and then takes a hard left turn to what you expect the movie
Huh?
going into it. That's all I will say.
Yeah.
Creepy, unsettling throughout. Takashi Miike is a master at those things. Um, yeah, Takashi Miike, director of he's directed over 100 movies. So,
A
yeah,
lot of
a
movies.
lot of movies. I really wish I had more of his films in my collection, but, like, god damn it, how much shelf space do you need for all of his movies?
We
Yeah,
need a Criterion box set of
yeah, really. He directed, 13 Assassins, Ichi the Killer, Audition,
Yep.
um, so many more movies. Blade of the Immortal is a movie that I
Yeah,
have
it's
in my
pretty good.
collection.
Yeah, I got that.
Really cool, based off of Japanese manga. Um Yeah, he just go on his page. His work is not for everyone. You really need to be a specific type of person,
Yeah, you
to
could
like
say
his work.
he's
It's
like
very violent. It'll
I was
get
gonna
you.
say
It'll get you.
you could say it's kind of like their Tarantino in a way, Japanese.
Definitely, Tarantino's a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Tarantino's definitely a fan. Um, yeah, there's so many movies here. I'm just scrolling down. It's just endless. But what's the other film on this list, Steven?
Well, we got a Hammer horror set,
We
and it's
do.
their volume 2. So
We do. What are the 3 films in this set, Steven?
when we have Shadow of the Cat, can't be a big shadow,
Hmm.
cat. Plus, they have Night Creatures and Phantom of the Opera from 1961 and 62.
Right. And I
So,
do want to make note that um there is a new audio commentary and a new video essay from Alexandra Heller Nicholas when it comes to that audition release. So that's something of
ooh.
note. I don't Yeah, it says uh yeah. I don't know if she did both the new video. I know she did the new video essay because that's her thing. I don't know. Maybe she did the commentary as well. But anywho, Um, this Hammer Horror Volume 2, these 3 movies can be found on the indicator release of Hammer Volume 6. So if you have Hammer Volume 6, like I do, you already own these movies. And I went and watched all of those, so it gave me the opportunity to dig into that box set. And man, Indicator, once again, shout out here. I know we're not talking about you on this today's show, but lots and lots of special features on those releases, on
Yeah.
those Hammer box set releases. Like, wow. Each of them had an intro by Kim Newman, which were very insightful about the movies. I did get to watch all 3 of them, and they're fine. They're not like great Hammer films. Um, but they're fun watches.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Cat is a movie. Yeah, it says Tabitha, once the placid, gentle, and devoted pet, adopts all the characteristics of a ferocious, wild animal following the murder of her mistress. The 3 guilty people are all trapped by the cat's power, and each will come to untimely deaths of horrific proportions without anyone being able to solve the mystery that surrounds their brutal death. So, what happens is the movie opens with this elderly woman dying, getting killed, actually, and her cat witnesses it, and the cat knows who did it. And therefore, the cat decides to get its revenge by killing the other members of her family in various ways. So the whole time, these people are kind of bumbling around trying to capture this cat and kill it, and they can't do it. Um, yeah, it's stuff like that. And then we've got Captain Clegg. Captain Clegg, which is um a rather the kind of dumb name for this movie because it originally had a different name than Captain Clegg. It had a much better name. I think it was called. I'm gonna look it up. It's Night Creatures.
Yeah, that's what it's called on here.
Yeah, Night Creatures. But the original title was Captain Clegg, And so in 18th century England, the Royal Crown sends Royal Navy Captain Collier and his crew to investigate reports of illegal smuggling and bootlegging in a coastal town where locals believe in marsh phantoms. So, if you see the poster of this, there's like these skeleton creatures. Those are the marsh phantoms. It's basically just people on dressed up in like skeleton um masks, not masks, but
Yeah,
like
costumes. Yeah.
costumes and things, and on like
Yeah.
skeleton horses and that are wearing skeleton costumes too. It's visually on screen. It looks pretty damn cool. So you so the premise of this movie is that yeah, Captain Clegg was this pirate who was hanged on this island many years ago, and perhaps it's now haunted because of that. I think that was the general premise of it. Anywho, Peter Cushing is in this movie. Oliver Reed is in this movie in a rather straight man's role. Oliver Reed, who's ever the hot cannon on screen, um, and yeah, it's another one that's kind of just a rather straightforward, like, you know, haunted caper and whatnot. Like, and you're dealing with people who are like trying to uncover this mystery, but also more of like the mystery of the smuggling and the interpersonal relationship between the characters and all that stuff. Yeah, you do find out the truth of what happened with Captain Clegg and all that stuff and how he's tied to all of this. Um, it's a fine movie. Moving on from there, we've got the last one in here, and this is it's another adaptation of Phantom of the Opera. There are so many adaptations of Phantom of the Opera. Um, Brian De Palma did it with Phantom of the Paradise. We had the one that came out with Gerard Butler and Emmy Rossum 20 years ago now? No, it was about what, 2006,
Yeah.
2005. That was directed by, was that Joel Schumacher? Rest in peace. I believe that was Joel Schumacher. That movie has not had a Blu-ray release since it came out in 2006. That's an old Blu-ray that I keep thinking of buying, but I know as soon as I buy it, they're going to re-release it in a new release because the anniversary of that movie's got to be coming up soon. But anywho, Phantom of the Opera. We got another adaptation here. This time, it is the Hammer version of it. We got to get a Hammer version of all of the Universal monsters, Steven. We can't leave out the
Yeah.
Phantom.
Yeah. Of course.
Can't leave out the Phantom. So we've got I love how this tagline is: beneath his mask, the grotesque face of horror unimaginable. Inside his heart, the desperate desire for beauty and love. Well, kind of. The corrupt Lord Ambrose Darcy steals the life's work of poor musical professor Petrie in an attempt to stop the printing of his music. This actually gives away the entire plot, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Wow, this is a terrible synopsis. So, Lord Ambrose Darcy is the producer of this play, right? He actually stole all of the music years ago from this other guy who then became the Phantom. Okay. But we're not supposed to know that until the third act of this movie. But the Lord Ambrose character is portrayed by Michael Goff. I believe it's called Goff. Yeah, Michael Goff, who played Alfred in the Tim Burton Batman films, and he is an utter piece of garbage in this movie. Like I just said, he stole this guy's life's work. He wants to put on this play no matter what. He treats the main actress in the film, or the actress who takes over the lead of the play that he's producing. She won't go to bed with him, so he fires her from the play or doesn't want her in the play anymore. He's a piece of garbage, this guy. But lurking in the shadows of this opera house is the Phantom, portrayed by Herbert Lom. Herbert Lom, who I know from the Pink Panther movies. He was in those movies. That's how I know Herbert Lom. This would be like years after this, but he's lurking in the shadows, trying to sabotage the play, but not really sabotage the play to get back at him. He actually wants to capture this woman and teach her how to properly sing this opera. Like that's his angle. It's a very weird adaptation. It's not the classic one that I remember being. Even Kim Newman in the intro of this was like every single adaptation after the one with Lon Chaney had the misfortune of having to follow it because it's so iconic. and they got the visuals down so perfect in that movie, and that's unfortunately, what holds this movie back. Um, it's it's really it's good again. It's another like 3-star movie in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, and the ending is so abrupt and so odd and so like, oh, okay. It almost just cuts to black. Not even cuts to black, cuts to like the end. And that's it. Really kind of a dud of an ending of the movie. But anywho, that's Phantom of the Opera by Hammer. It was released here on Blu-ray once upon a time, I want to say by Shout Factory, but it is in that indicator set, like I said. So let's move on from there over to man, if we can't talk about some Hammer, we gotta talk about some Italian Gothic movies,
Mm,
Steven.
let's
So
do it.
we got another box set from Severin. Um, damn, it looks like a good box set this time. Big
Yeah.
surprise there.
Yeah. So we're getting a volume 2 of their Italian Gothic collection, Danza Macabra, Volume 2, the Italian Gothic collection. So we got 4 more films um, being brought to us. So we have, well, we got, I think, was it one of them's a TV series, actually.
Yeah, a TV miniseries.
Yeah. So we have Castle of Blood, which I believe is that the series? No, no,
No,
that's
the
the movie.
series
That's
is
the movie.
Jekyll.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so in disc 1, it says we got disc 1 to 3. We have Castle of Blood, uh, which has got a 4K, which is awesome. Um, disc 2 is the Blu-ray, and then disc 3. Well, no, what's disc 3?
So this, yeah,
Oh, it's
this,
there's just features, just
yeah,
features.
this three is just features.
Yeah. And then disc 4, we have Jekyll, which is disc 4 and 5 is Jekyll. It's the TV series. It's 262 minutes. Um, and then we have disc 6, which will have the film 1971 film. They have changed their face. I love these descriptive
Yeah, no,
titles.
very descriptive.
And then disc 7, we have 1972's The Devil's Lover. And then the 8th disc is the Devil's Lover soundtrack on CD.
That Seven
So
likes to do that. They
yeah,
like to put out those CD discs at the end with the soundtrack
yeah,
or the score. So yeah, so Castle of Blood, its Italian title is Danza Macabra, which is very interesting. Directed by Antonio Margheriti. This is a name we've heard several times here on the show.
Margheriti.
Margheriti, Antonio Margheriti. Um, Arrow has loved to put out a lot of his movies.
Yeah,
Recently. So we've got Castle of Blood. Now, this premise may sound familiar to you people. A writer accepts a wager that he cannot spend the night alone in a haunted castle on All Souls Eve. One night falls at the castle, once night falls at the castle, several who had been murdered therein return to life, reliving their deaths and seeking to kill the writer for his blood in a vain attempt to stay alive beyond that one night. This is a trippy movie, Steven. Um,
trippy.
trippy movie. So starring Barbara Steele, who was
Love
a
her.
horror
Love her.
icon in Italian cinema, Italian horror icon. This is a very trippy movie. Uh, just to give you a sense of trippiness, I mean, like, there's just like he'll be in this castle doing something, and then all of a sudden people will just come out of nowhere and things will happen.
Okay.
Very unsettling. This movie is like gothic spookiness to its extreme, to the 11th level. It's got everything you could imagine. It's got creepy castle, it's got ghostly things going on, it's got death, it's got blood, it's got candlelight, it's got cobwebs. This movie is all goth. It's so gothic. I mean, it's unreal. And yeah, the movie is just so trippy. But good in my opinion.
Cool.
And it's really, um, really, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I like the Castle of Blood title. I like the vibe of the whole movie. It works well. Now we've got, what's the next movie in this set here? We've
Well, the
got,
next movie is
oh,
they
they have changed their face,
they have changed your face. Yeah,
which is not a great title, Steven.
not a,
Not a
not a
great
great
title.
title.
Not a great title. So, in this allegory on capitalism, director of a known car corporation invites one of his employees to his country villa to give him the good news. He just got promoted. Damn straight he did. Damn straight. However, the old man is not what he seems, and promotion has a price. Here we go. Another
Mm,
creepy castle, another creepy shit going on. You're getting
damn
that
it.
theme in this box set here.
How many
Things are
damn creepy
happening.
castles can there be?
I know, damn, like who's got all this money for all these rich houses? So this entire movie, like the title or synopsis here suggests, is an allegory for capitalism. Everything comes at a cost. Everything comes at a cost, and that cost can sometimes be rather extreme. But if you really want something, you're willing to do anything to get it. And capitalism is a very evil form of economics, as many of us have learned over many years. So this movie is really good. Like this may be the best movie in the box set, in my opinion.
Okay.
Once again, very trippy, weird things going on. Um, what's real? What's not real? What is it? Evil spirits? Is it evil things going on? It is metaphorical, but is it also literal? You kind of you're caught off guard while watching this movie. You just kind of have to go with it, kind of like a David Lynch fever dream of a movie, if I had to describe it.
Wow.
I just wish it had a better title. They have changed their face. It's just
Well,
not there.
face changers.
Face changers. Face changes.
Face
Mm.
changes.
Sounds like yeah. They have changed their face. Um, yeah.
Okay.
The original title is Hanno Cambiato Faccia.
Sounds better. Yeah.
I think that's just the Italian way
I
of
know,
saying
but
they
it
changed
sounds
their
better.
face.
Still sounds better.
Okay.
All right.
So what? So we've got Jekyll, which is a I want to say it's a 4-part miniseries. That's an adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's um Steven. What's
Jekyll and Hyde.
Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
I mean, and then the last one is a movie that I did not get to see. What's it called? It's called
The
The Devil's Lover. What? And reading the premise of that movie, once again, we are a creepy tale about a sorrowful night passed in a nightmarish castle. You guessed it,
Huh.
people. We're back in a
Shit.
castle.
Damn.
Also, the house of the demon. Many horror elements are mixed with erotic atmosphere. If you've seen the poster of this on Letterboxd, it is a rather unsettling yet erotic poster. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see. I did not get to see this one. This was the only thing in the set I didn't get to see. And then, trying to find old movies and stuff to watch, but trying to find an old miniseries, that's another feat in and of
That's
itself.
a whole other thing. Yeah.
Especially like an Italian miniseries from like the 70s. Where does one even look for something like that?
I don't know. ItalianMiniseries.com.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's tough to find like American miniseries from the 70s, let alone, and those are on TV here. But yeah, so this looks like a great box set from Severin.
Well,
Yeah, Severin once
Cat
again doing that thing.
Ellinger was all over this again.
Yes. Yeah, Kat Ellinger. I believe she produced this box set or partly worked on this box set.
Yeah, she was behind the first volume as well.
Yes, she was. It says, yeah, she has an audio commentary on yeah, she has an audio commentary on They've Changed Their Face, coincidentally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And cool. But I do want to stay in the horror realm, Steven, because we got our buddies over at TerrorVision put out a group of movies. They put out a group of a lot of things, actually. Our buddy Brad Henderson always has a lot of things going over with TerrorVision. He had to remember we were doing the TerrorVision Tuesdays. He's kind of had to slow down with a lot of that, just because of production. You know, production's got to catch up, things like that.
Take a break, man. Just take a break.
Yeah, he's always putting out like VHSs and cassette tapes and vinyl records. But we're going to concentrate on the movie stuff, Steven. Yeah. We've got ourselves some movies here. What do we got?
Well, we got looks like seven releases that are announced. We got Hollow's Gate. We have Wood Chipper Massacre, Blood Car, Dead Air, The Jar, Door, and Slashers.
Nice.
So there were the new releases that were announced. Um, we both watched we both watched Blood Car. So I guess we'll start there. From 2007, Blood Car. Are gas prices killing you? That's the tag I see here. But essentially, this is like set in some future where gas prices are like skyrocketed. So nobody's like economics are skyrocketed. People are not buying gasoline, so nobody's driving their cars anymore. So our main character, Archie Andrews is his name, who's like a kindergarten teacher, is at the same time trying to come up with an alternative energy source, to use in his vehicle. And so he comes up. He's been using wheatgrass.
Yeah, like wheatgrass juice.
Because he's vegan, so he's using.
He's
wheatgrass.
an environmentalist. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's using wheatgrass to try to come up with an alternative energy source, and then accidentally, some of his own blood gets mixed in, and he realizes human blood can be ran into the car. So then he like retrofits his own car out and like kind of sets it up to where he can easily add more blood to it, which is this like saw thing in the back of his trunk that he can throw bodies in.
He basically sets up like
a filtration system.
Yeah, but it's like a wood chipper type of mechanism in his trunk.
It makes no sense. This movie makes no sense.
No sense whatsoever.
We're trying to make sense of it, but it doesn't.
But he's the only one seemingly who has a car that is being used. So everybody thinks he's like the coolest.
Or if you have a lot of money, you're buying gas.
Yeah, so people assume that he's got a lot of money. They think he's cool. They want to go for rides, so they start making arrangements with him.
Yeah, so then the government is like watching him too.
But the government is watching him because they're like, "What's this guy up to?" But he comes up with like arrangements with this really attractive woman, basically exchanging sex for car rides and stuff. And the woman who he buys wheatgrass from is actually Anna Klumsky. Anna Klumsky was My Girl in the movie My Girl back in like 1991. She's been a career actress. She was on that show V with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
That show won like every Emmy award every single year it was on. This is an indie role for her, a small indie role for her. This movie was made for not much money whatsoever. It is available to stream on Tubi. So this guy goes down a dark path to kind of keep feeding the need to keep this car going. It reminds me a lot of Little Shop of Horrors.
Sure, yeah, I can say that, yeah. And I think we both are on the same page. Like we kind of enjoyed the movie, like it's not good, but it's like it's kind of got a premise that's fun enough that you can kind of go along with it, and you kind of want to see what happens. There are some kind of like funny, disturbing scenes where like at first when he's trying to get blood, at this point he hasn't realized that he has to use human blood yet, so he's going around trying to kill animals.
Yeah,
which is disturbing.
But it's absurd because he's using like
a pellet gun.
Not even like the thing's like an air.
It's a BB
it's supposed
gun.
to be a pellet gun, but
it's like an aerosol.
Like it's something you buy at like a convenience.
So he tries to kill. He tries to kill this little puppy with this shitty gun, and he has to keep shooting it multiple times until it finally dies.
That part did disturb me a bit, but then I realized that like
it's being played for comedy.
So absurd. It's so absurd.
Yeah. He's obvious, and then he's like crying about it, like he doesn't want to do it, but it's like that's what makes it kind of funny. Is just he's
the intention behind it is that like how far would you go to make this work? How far would you go to push it? I mean, but it, like I said, it's played for dark comedy.
Yeah.
The poster and the cover art for this movie is pretty damn cool as well. It's like it looks like a Mad Max poster, really.
Yeah.
But Blood Car is probably the funnest of all of these movies, at least the one I've got to see. I think this director Alex Orr, he only did like 2 movies, and this was one of them.
Yeah.
So what was the other one that was on this list, Steven?
That I saw was Dead Air.
Okay, so that I did not get to see.
Okay.
But it does star Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
And horror fans know who Bill Moseley is.
Of course.
Guy was in all the Rob Zombie movies.
Hell yeah.
He's kind of the patriarch of the Firefly family. in House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and the last movie, what was it, Three from Hell. But
Yeah.
he was also in like his version of Halloween, and then he's been in a bunch of horror movies. Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
It's okay. I mean, it's not. It's definitely like a little. It's definitely a really low budget movie, but it's got some production value because it's kind of the way the story's created. It's kind of all in one place for the most part. But it's Bill Moseley plays like this late night radio host who talks like he's kind of like controversial. He talks about, but he's got really high ratings. He built up a whole kind of thing, and during one of his shows, some kind of like toxin gets released in places all over the U.S., and then it starts turning everybody kind of into like rage zombie type people. Yeah, kind of in the vein of like 28 Days Later, which I think came out around this time, which is probably what inspired the type of, because at the time most zombie movies were slow zombies, but then I think 28 Days Later kind of got people to want to change their idea of what a zombie could be. And then this film, you get the fast running, trying to eat you zombies in that way. So it's fine. It's not great. That, like I said, production value is a little higher than maybe some of these other movies. Filmmaking is a little better, but it's pretty rough around the edges. But yeah, it's a good idea though. I mean, I like the idea of like radio host stuck in a radio station, shit, going on out in the world. World's ending essentially, and then he has to try to go save like his girlfriend or wife from of course a fatal fate.
Mm.
But
So, when did it? Hold on, I'm
came
on
out in
turn.
2009.
Okay, so it was part of that whole
Yeah.
late 2000s zombie horror craze that was kind of a resurgence back in that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was kind of a big resurgence in the 2000s for zombie stuff. Um, really kind of culminating in the fever pitch of The Walking Dead
Yeah, and then
television series, which came out in 2009
and then
and
you
is
could
still going on, by the way.
yeah, and then you could say there is a little bit of post 9/11 terrorist angle to this
Yeah.
with bioweapons, and there is the people, one of the groups in the area that they're at that let off the weapon shows up to the radio station and is involved in kind of a hostage situation. So I think there is a little bit of like post 9/11 terrorism things in here as well. So definitely interesting, but it's just not completely great filmmaking. So it's
Gotcha.
not it's not all there, but it's it's not worth a watch. I think you can find this on Tubi if you want to check it out before buying it. So yep. What else you
Okay.
got?
So I watched the movie Wood Chipper Massacre, and you guessed it, there's a wood
God
chipper
bless you.
and it's
God bless
used.
you.
So this movie is made for about $0 American. And it may be one of the most lowest budgeted movies I think I've seen for the show. But it's an interesting kind of premise we've got going on here. So John, Tom, and Denise suffer under the intense rule of their uptight religious aunt. And when a struggle over a forbidden knife in the house results in the accidental death of the overbearing caretaker, the trio panic and they basically get rid of her body by using a wood chipper. But what this movie doesn't tell you is that so these kids are all siblings, and their dad goes off on some type of business trip or whatever. First of all, this movie is shot on video. Came out 1988. This looks like it was shot on like a camcorder back at that time, so it feels very much like a home video, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so the acting is atrocious. It's just it's not good. But if you like super low budget shot on video stuff from the 80s, this is for you. But you got to get through it. You know what I mean? It may drain the life out of you. But so these three siblings are left in the care of their super strict, annoying aunt who is hilariously over the top, ridiculously strict to the point where I thought it was hilarious. I thought she was the best part of the movie, to be honest. She's so ridiculous. She's wearing the worst wig you've ever seen. I mean, like wigs you would see in like SNL skits and whatnot.
Mm.
I mean, just so bad. Um, and so they accidentally kill her, and they got to get rid of her body. So they first of all they cut her body up, and then they put it in the wood chipper. But then her son comes along, like looking for her, so they've got to deal with that nonsense going on. And yeah, that's the premise of the movie. That's literally the whole movie.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's I don't think I can describe it any
I
more than
don't
that.
think you need to,
And it's
man. It's
called Wood
okay.
Chipper Massacre.
Yeah.
I mean, uh, yeah, it's a debut of this movie with a new transfer from the master tapes. We've got interviews from I think pretty much so many people involved with the movie, including the director John McBride. I'm just very curious of what the making of this movie is because it feels like it's a movie that like obviously someone back in the 80s wanted to make a movie like but they didn't have the money to do it, so how would they go about it? Get it, well, I got a camcorder, or let me find some people who want to act, and let's do this. And that's kind of very admirable. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like specifically, because of the time in which the movie was made. And that's something I think a lot of us who've delved into making YouTube videos, making movies to be put online, all this kind of like stuff you've done with your friend Steven,
Yeah.
stuff I've done by myself, and all this kind of stuff. So it's admirable in that vein. But yeah, the movie is exactly what you expect it to be, and it's called Wood Chipper Massacre, which is very on the nose. Very on the nose. So next is a movie called Hollow Gate, also from 1988. Um, yeah, so there's a little bit of a 1988 theme going on here. So this is an interesting movie where these group of kids are going to this party, but they get sidetracked. But first, of course, we've got to set up the killer in this movie. So there's a killer in this movie. When this boy was young, at a Halloween party, his drunk father tried to drown him in the apple like picking barrels with water and apples and stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know, I've never done it. So the father tries to drown him in that, and I guess that traumatizes the boy for life to the point where he grows up and wants to commit mass murder. Um, I don't know how that would do that, but okay. So the movie fast forwards 10 years later, and I believe he commits either a harassment or a murder, gets put in a mental institution. But then after 2 years, his rich grandmother gets him out of this prison. This all happens in like the first 10 minutes of this movie. She takes him and she's basically like cares for him at her like a rich mansion house. And then we transition to like these group of friends who are trying to go to this Halloween party. They stop by this magic shop, and then this guy's like, "Hey, I'll sell you some stuff, and the way you can pay for it is I need to make a delivery of these costumes at this house. Can you do this for me? And you won't have to pay whatever." So they do, and it just so happens to be this guy who is kind of psychotic and starts killing them off one by one at this house. Um, and they have to like try to survive and escape and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Very 80s slasherish, very much kind of like a almost Norman Bates-esque performance by this character who he starts putting on the different costumes and acting out the roles, which I thought was kind of funny. It kind of little funny premise there. But yeah, that's the premise of the movie. And it's Hollow Gate. Because I think the house is called like Hollow Gate or something, like this manor. Um, yeah, that's what I got to watch. And that was the last one I watched, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I went and started binge watching Mike Flanagan's The Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, I started
Yeah.
watching that too. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
So far, yeah.
How many episodes in it are you?
One.
Okay.
Just one.
All right then. I think I'm on. I think I'm on 6. I think I'm on
Jesus,
6.
dude, how much time do you have?
Steven, when you've got nothing else going on other than movies and TV, you find a lot of time for movies and TV.
All right. Okay. All right.
I mean,
I just don't know how
lost.
you watched what the shit
Yeah,
from this show
it's
and
like
then watch 6 episodes of,
you get
that
lost
shit.
in the when you start binge watching something, you just get lost. like time has no meaning sometimes
All
when
right.
you get in the binge watch mode.
All right.
For those of you listening, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but
I think I
sometimes
do,
like 5 hours goes by and you don't even realize it,
especially in the middle of the night.
especially in the middle of the night.
All right. Well, anything else on TerraVision?
No, that is
That's it.
it. That
All
is
right.
it from all I've got. Pay attention to Brad Henderson's Twitter, TerraVision's Twitter, because he's got a lot of merchandise here, like Monster Squad vinyl and Monster Squad VHS, no, Monster Squad cassette tape for the soundtrack. He's got all kinds of cool stuff that they're doing over at TerraVision. Every single
Yeah.
week, it seems like something new is dropping. So check all that stuff out. But now we make our way over to the big news of the day that just
Yeah.
dropped
Okay.
today.
Yep. Let's
Criterion.
let's round it out, guys. Let's finish up here. So Criterion, this is their January announcements, and they are starting the year off pretty heavy.
Oh yeah, starting
Um,
off the ground running,
yeah.
starting off
So
hot,
let's
hot,
start off
hot.
with the upgrades. One, of course, that's close to my heart. Satyajit Ray's the Pooh trilogy is getting a 4K upgrade. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about this.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, look, do I know that do I want to upgrade this for myself because I love the film so much? Yes. Am I in a hurry? No, because honestly, as much as I'm interested to see these films in a 4K restoration. How much better can they look when they were barely surviving elements?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
You know,
yeah, revelation. I wrote this on our Facebook page earlier. The Blu-rays are already a revelation. This
yeah,
must
yeah.
be like something
I,
on an unbelievable level.
it would have but it's hard for me to believe that you can get much better looking than what you already got because what they already scanned, like what they had to do to get these
To
movies
look
put
as good as
together.
to look as good
Yeah,
for Blu-ray. I mean, it's gonna blow my brain. It's gonna blow my mind out. What
it
are we
would have.
talking here?
I don't,
Yeah.
or it's not going to be that much of a difference, and it ain't really that worth it.
Oh, don't be
but the
that
movie,
pessimistic. Come on now.
that's how I am because these companies they got to make money, so they're putting out 4Ks for things, and it's like sometimes I wonder like
Yeah, I
is it
understand what
really
you're
that
saying.
much of an upgrade?
Right.
So,
But what
but if you've never bought these films before,
yeah, you
this
gotta
is the
own
way you
it.
want to go. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say this. I mean, I consider most things in my collection kind of must owns because I own them, but this is a must own of a must own of a must own for me. The Apu trilogy is is such pure cinema
yeah,
that it's on another level in my opinion. So it's really it's got to be owned, it's got to be watched, it's got to be loved in any of its forms. The box set itself, I one there's a whole review that I did years ago on our YouTube channel, Chasing Labels. That's still up there. It's honestly the most watched video I've ever done in my
yeah,
entire life. Um, and it's all in the comments I've gotten on it over the years have been uh people from all over the world.
yeah.
Like, I didn't realize how big of a name that Satyajit Ray was. Um,
I mean, India's a big
it's a
country.
massive country with a lot of people, yes.
Yeah,
And you know what? It was all people from India commenting on that video.
yeah.
It was
Well,
really it's
he
incredible.
doesn't nearly get the he's not ever talked about in the oeuvre of like greatest filmmakers of all time
Yeah,
until
yeah.
I think more recently he's starting to get a little bit more.
Yeah, I
But
mean it's yeah, like seriously, one of the greatest filmmakers ever.
yeah, I mean
Like
he's got a
ever.
slew of films the Criterion's put out, whether it's Hero or Charlotta or what
Even
probably my
Devi is one that they put out
Devi
recently.
recently is the most recent they put out. Probably my favorite is The Big City.
Yeah, The Big
Um,
City's good
is
movie.
is great.
Yeah, just a masterwork of stuff, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of stuff they haven't put out yet. Which
he's got
hopefully they
tons of
put out more.
films that I guess that they own the right. They have the rights to his catalog, and I
Mm.
guess they just have to be able
And
to
they
get
have
the
a
elements.
yeah, they
Yeah,
have a late Ray Eclipse set that I
yeah,
have, which has his last movies in on DVD, like unrestored, I think on DVD.
yeah.
I would love for those films to get Blu-ray releases. Hopefully that does happen. But what also got a an upgrade release, and Steven, my indifference, my ability to not buy things has paid off once again because
Damn.
we've got the Coen brothers Blood Simple is getting a 4K UHD upgrade from Criterion. You know how many times I've almost bought this Blu-ray? So
Uh,
many, every
20,
single sale, every
27
single
times.
sale,
27 times. Yeah.
every single sale.
Yeah.
Because I already own the original Blu-ray. I think it was put out by Fox over a decade ago, but I wanted this one because it's got a new transfer. It's got the special features. Del Toro, I think, is on here.
I'm scared. I'm scared because once again, uh, the Coen brothers supervised this. Or did they take something out again?
I
And we
have
don't.
no, to be honest,
Are
I
we?
don't remember. I
No, what
probably
I'm
have to
saying
look that
is
up.
we're gonna get this release and then we're gonna find out something's missing.
I think I can't remember. I can't remember if that was already the case with this release.
Well, no,
I
that we're talking about Miller's Crossing.
well, I think this was it already happened with Blood Simple.
Really?
Yeah, and I think people had already kind of gotten a little humbug
When they
with
did
this
when they
release
did the Blu-ray.
when they did the Blood Simple release.
Okay.
Um, but I can't remember definitely. People out there who are more Criterion aficionados may know. The Miller's Crossing, we already know. I mean, the big thing for me when it comes to this would be, like I said, the special features. Um, there's stuff here with the Coen brothers doing interviews, and stuff like that. The movie, this is actually their first film, and the movie's
Yeah.
pretty damn great for a
Oh,
first
it's yeah,
film.
it's the great first film.
Um,
Yeah.
Frances McDormand is in this film. She's great in it. Um, yeah, it's a great neo noir from when did this come out? 1984. Yeah, 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to get the Blu-ray, but I guess now I can get the 4K.
There you
I
go.
just have to wait until the July sale of 2024 because this is a January
God,
release.
come on, man, just buy it straight out. You
I
know,
know, seriously. But yeah, so it's coming with all the special features from the Blu-ray and the DVD previous releases. So,
there you go.
um, hopefully it looks better. I'm curious because I'm pretty sure that Blu-ray uh, was already taken from a 4K restoration.
Yeah.
So then now they're just giving us like the 4K, actual 4K. But now we get into Steven, we get into some new stuff.
Some new stuff, man. This one was exciting for me because I'm a big fan of the director as well. Danny Boyle's Transpotting is getting a 4K Blu-ray. I think we only have one other Danny Boyle film in the collection. I believe Shallow Grave. Yeah. So now we're getting. I guess I don't know if it falls in line. Are these his first two films?
I believe they are, Steven.
Um,
Yeah, so Trainspotting, yeah,
is this?
Trainspotting has been released on Blu-ray before,
Yeah.
in 2011 and been re-released in 2021. We got a Trainspotting 2. People
I was gonna
remember
say it
that.
would have been kind of nice if this was a double pack of Transpotting 2.
I hate that they called Trainspotting 2 T2 Trainspotting.
Yeah,
That
stupid.
bothered the shit out of me. Like, come
It's
on.
like, what is this, Terminator 2?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
not only because it's like sacrilege, because it's, T2 is Terminator 2, just because like it looks dumb. Like, just call
Yeah.
it Trainspotting 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Trainspotting 2 obviously already had a 4K release because the movie came out in 2017. But yeah, this Trainspotting release is nice. This
It's
is
what.
one of the movies that everybody talked about when they talked about like 90s indie films. This is part of that lexicon. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
It's right
And
there with Fight Club and Seven and
well,
Clerks and all, and
it's
Pulp Fiction.
yeah,
You
it's one
know,
of the films that kind of I think it's the film that really kind of started to Danny Boyle started to kind of get his style figured out. Like this film, he's got a very distinct editing style, where it's very like very much fits this type of movie where you're talking about drug addicts and the very erratic, chaotic lifestyle that they're living works with the type of filmmaking that Danny Boyle becomes known for throughout his career after this film, whether it's films like 28 Days Later or what he did in like what was the movie he did?
Slumdog Millionaire.
Well, Slumdog Millionaire, of course, it is an amazing movie. I'm thinking of what's the small movie he did, the heist movie with James McAvoy.
Oh my goodness!
That
Now you
nobody
go.
can, nobody has probably seen.
Trance.
Trance.
Like,
Yeah.
no one talks about that movie, and I thought it was brilliant.
The movie's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no
It
one
needs a
talks about
good
that movie.
release. That needs a good release as well down the line. But it's
Yeah, it's a
his
relatively new film, but 127 hours.
yeah.
Sunshine, which
It's
nobody
great.
talks
It's an
about,
amazing
a
movie.
sci-fi movie from 2007 starring Cillian Murphy plus a bunch of other people.
He's one of my favorite recent filmmakers. I mean, he did the Steve Jobs film as well.
I think I did a Danny Boyle um uh movie collection spotlight on when I did like all of the Danny Boyle films I have in my collection at the time.
Yeah.
This was a couple of years ago. Obviously, I don't think I've bought any Danny Boyle films since T2. Oh God, I said it, didn't I? Son of a
Yeah. So
bitch. Since
they,
Trainspotting 2,
they got you.
because he did that movie Yesterday.
It's good. That is good. I like that
Did you
movie
like
too.
that where the guy's like the only one who remembers Beatles songs?
Well,
So
there's
they're
others. There, I don't want to spoil the movie, but it's
all
got
right.
twists in it. But but yeah, it's a good. I mean, it's not like the best movie he's done, but it's a good like change of pace where he stopped doing like such, overly stylized, chaotic movies, and he did this kind of like sweet movie. He loves the Beatles. He wanted to do kind of like a love letter to the
Mm.
Beatles kind of thing. So I liked that.
Did you like his Steve Jobs movie?
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah.
Because because that movie took so many years to be made.
Well, that's the Aaron Sorkin script.
That's the Aaron Sorkin
Yeah.
script that was passed around
I
like
think Fincher was
crazy.
gonna do. Fincher was gonna do it
Like
once.
multiple studios,
Yeah.
picked it up and dropped it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and that was the Aaron Sorkin. Like it's like a 3-act play,
Yeah.
and it's Steve Jobs at like 3 different product launches, and it's just like 3 different stages of his life.
It's the better Steve Jobs movie. I can tell you that.
Oh, than the one with Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Never saw that one actually.
It's not
It's been
good.
on Netflix. It was on Netflix for years.
It's not good.
Okay
Um,
then. But yeah, Train Spotting. I mean, the cast in the movie is people who would then later on go on and be more famous. Um,
yeah. Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, um, Kevin McKidd, Kelly MacDonald, Robert Carlyle. Um, yeah, it's a movie that you kind of have to experience. It's
Yeah.
not an upper though. It's a dark and like
It's a
dark
rough movie.
existential movie.
There's a
Yeah.
rough. It's kind of in that vein of like what's the other drug movie I'm thinking of the time?
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. Yeah.
And it's not as harsh as that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there is a scene with a baby
Oh yeah, god
in
damn it.
this movie. Don't forget
Yeah,
about that scene. It's a
that
rough
scene is
scene.
pretty dark. Then there's the scene where one of the more infamous scenes is the dirtiest bathroom in Scotland.
Yeah. I
Pretty
mean,
rough.
this movie has some comedy in it, so I think that's why you don't really put it on the level as Requiem for a Dream. But when it's rough, it's rough.
Yeah,
Like
it's based off of a book, I believe, by Irvine Welsh. I think it was the person who wrote the book. But yeah, Train Spotting. I'm pretty sure it's been in many people's collections for many, many years. I know it's
yeah,
been in
it's good.
mine.
It's a good one.
But yeah, so this is a new edition. This is spy number 1204. Nice to see some new stuff in here.
Yep.
Got special features, got essays,
And more to come.
by the author Irvine Welsh. Okay. But moving on from there, we got some other stuff here. Mudbound, which is a Netflix movie, is getting a physical media release. Thank the movie gods, I guess.
I guess
We're
they
finally
decided not
getting
to
it.
save that for the Netflix store.
Yeah, I guess not. We knew about this that was coming, I think for a while now. We just didn't
But
know
didn't
when.
one of Dee Ree's didn't one of her other movies?
Yes.
Yes.
One of Dee Reese's other films got in the collection first, Pariah. And I think
Pariah. Yeah.
they approached her to have Mudbound be put in the collection, but I think she wanted to have Pariah put in first or something like that.
Yeah.
It's something to do with that.
Well, that's a deal I would make. I mean, I'm sure Criterion's always about getting the filmography of a young director and getting them from the beginning, if they can. So yeah, I think that's probably on purpose. And yeah, Mudbound came out a few years back ago, and I believe it got some Oscar attention. And
2017.
yeah,
That's a time long forgotten.
Yep.
For the dark times, for the Empire.
Yeah.
We've got a really good movie here that was on Netflix. This movie stars Carey Mulligan, Jason Clarke, Jason Mitchell, Mary J. Blige, Rob Morgan, Jonathan Banks, Garrett Hedlund. Yeah, it's a film by Dee Rees. I own the book. Actually, I was looking at it on my shelf today. So, in the Mississippi Delta of the 1940s, two farming families, one of white landowners, one of black tenant farmers, are bound by the unforgiving soil they share as they struggle to survive amid the upheavals of World War II and the poisonous hatred of the Jim Crow South. Each family sends a young man off to battle, and when they return, scarred and find a common bond, the community is ripped apart. Writer-director Dee Rees, with co-writer Virgil Williams, crafts a uniquely American tragedy, imbuing bitter historical realities with a timeless weight. So yeah, this movie's dealing with its most obvious theme being racism in the Jim Crow South of the 1940s, of pre-civil rights era United States, and just showing the the harsh realities of racism at that time, that it really doesn't matter if you go and fight for this country. If you come back, people will still hate you just because of your race. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That was one of the main kind of themes I found in the movie. Yeah, and it's a very unapologetic look at that harsh reality. I mean, it's a racism is still something we deal with today, but it's very interesting at the time, how much of a time capsule this is, but also how much it expands to, what we deal with afterward and what we're dealing with today. Good movie, really, really good movie, shot by Rachel Morrison, who I think was nominated for an Oscar for Best Cinematography. Um, yeah, really, really, really good movie. Um, but we do have a box set, Stephen.
We do. Chantal, is that's how you say it?
Ackerman.
Chantal Ackerman, yeah. Chantal Ackerman masterpieces from 1968 to 1978. So this is including
Oh, you want me to read
a
these?
few of her film. Yeah, you go for, it's in
Mhm.
another
I
language.
would
I
say
can't
these
say
are in
these.
a different language. So yeah, Chantal Ackerman was an absolute legend. Um, just yeah, all of her many of her stuff has been on the Criterion channel
Well,
for a while.
yeah, we know about one of them that's gotten a lot of attention recently because it was on a big list.
Oh yes, we do. Yes, Jean Diamond 23 Quai du Commerce, 1080 Brussels, which was the number one on the was it Sight and Sound?
Sight and Sound list, yeah,
Sight and Sound
which is
list. Yes,
already
it
in the
is.
collection. This is
Yes, it
just
is.
adding.
A
Yeah,
lot of her work is already in the collection. This is Chantal Ackerman, a DVD clip set, I believe. So anywho, we've got quite a few films in here. Um, Saute ma ville, L'enfant en mai, où je joue et être une femme mariée, La chambre, Hotel Monterey, um, Le 1518, Je tu il elle, which I've actually seen most of these, and then Jean Diamond 23 Croix du Commerce 1080 Brussels, News from Home, La Rendezvous d'Anna, and then that's it. So most of these I've actually seen because some of these are actually for short, very short films.
yeah,
Um, like I want to say La Chambre is La Chambre is 11 minutes, so it's a short film, and it's literally there's nothing going on in here. It's just like a 360 like pan of a room. That's it. Like that's these are very experimental, very avant-garde, very unique works by Chantal Ackerman. Just an absolute legend of a director. I remember when she passed away a few years ago. People were very, commenting on her work and stuff. So yeah, I'm very excited about this box set. I mean, I haven't bought any of her work yet or added any of it to my collection. Um,
I mean,
yeah,
this the timing of this with it being on the Sight and Sound list
pretty
is
apropos.
yeah, yeah, works good. Hopefully, the interest is there with that, and people will pick up this set. So
Yeah, I'm curious what the I'm scrolling out the special features here. Um, yeah, there's interviews with Ackerman and other people who worked on her stuff. There's an essay here by Beatrice Loaiza, who is someone I actually follow on Twitter. So that was kind of interesting. I found that out today. Um, and then there's an unfinished film is also included on here called Hanging Out Yonkers, an unfinished film from 1973 by Chantal Ackerman. I think most of these are getting new 4K restorations. Actually, only one's getting a new 4K restoration, and the rest are getting 2K restorations. I think. Yes. So the one that's getting a 4K restoration is Le Rendezvous Donna. Yeah, very much a trailblazer in women in film, but also putting women in film um, in very unique forms, very controversial forms for their time. I know Je tu il elle, a very controversial film for its time in 1975. It's our first narrative feature. It is a startling, vulnerable exploration of alienation and the search for connection. Um, it's a beautifully beautiful film. Um, yeah, this is a mega release in my opinion.
Yeah.
Damn mega release. But now we got to the last one here, Steven. And this is a movie called Lone Star by John Sayles. Have you ever heard of this movie?
Oh yeah, people have been talking about, I think, wanting this in the collection for a while. I hear it in Facebook groups and stuff. People wanting this one, because John Sayles is kind of a, one of them filmmakers that people talk about. I think we've had at least one. I know we've at least one
Yeah,
of
there's
his
one of his
films.
movies, Mate One,
Mad One, yeah, is
is
good.
his movie. John Sayles, who very much part of the indie filmmaking world.
Yeah,
This movie, Lone Star, I had a professor in college. I think I've talked about him, who was from England, and he kind of taught my intro to film class or whatever. And his favorite movie is Lone Star by John Sayles, and I had never heard of the movie at the time. I added it to a I added the DVD to a wish list on Amazon, and it's been stuck there since 2011. So I have never bought it or seen the movie. So my time has arrived, Stephen. I can
yes.
now walk into the dust, I guess, in Lone Star. I know it's a Western. I know it's great. Chris Cooper's in the film. I'm down.
That's
I'm
all
so
I
down
need
for
to
this
know.
movie. And it is a 4K UHD release as well,
Yeah.
not just a Blu-ray. And you get a new conversation with John Sayles. Um, yeah, this is one that people are buzzing about.
Yes. All over it, man. Well, along with the Criterion the announcements day, I think I saw somebody post earlier that we should be getting an announcement for tomorrow, a 50% off flash sale. I think supposed to happen tomorrow,
Yep.
maybe. So,
Flash. Ah.
I have my coupon. I took a note from you and saved my last coupon. So and I'm hearing that there might be a coupon with this flash sale as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna have two coupons and I'm gonna stack them.
Let's hope you can still stack them, and they haven't figured that out yet. I told you that one time where I stacked like three or four,
Yeah, oh
three or
yeah.
four, and I ended up getting the Agnes Varda set for under
Well, you know what?
$100,
What
which
comes
is
out tomorrow,
ridiculous.
right? You know what comes out tomorrow, right? Freaks.
Freaks does come out
The
tomorrow.
Todd
Yes,
Browning Freaks collect with the two other films.
that's gonna sell out so fast if there's
It
a flash
is.
sale tomorrow,
Yeah.
or
Well,
if there's a flash sale this week.
I'm either gonna try to get that, or I'm thinking about finally getting Small Axe, and
Oh,
because it'll be
nice.
50% off with the coupons that should bring it down pretty well. So
I feel like Freaks is gonna sell out. It's gonna be a hot
this
seller
will be quick.
at the sale,
Yeah.
at the Criterion sale. That's should be happening in November, which is about 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So it's coming up very fast. Hopefully people have been saving. I mean, there's been a shit ton of sales lately.
Nope.
I know that. I know that. Goddamn. Um, don't spend all your money on Halloween candy. Those they may look delicious, but movies are more
Don't tell
important, I
them what
guess.
to do. Let them eat candy,
I know.
man. Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
You act
Do
like
whatever
a
you want.
parent.
You know what? Do whatever you want, so then therefore there'll be more copies I don't have to
Yeah.
fight for.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that is it for our episode this week. Spy number 120 is in the books on the shelf. Andrew, where can they find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter or X at Capzilla06. Yeah, I know X gonna give it to you. Just think of that scene from
God.
Deadpool. So you can find me on there at Capzilla06, or you can find me on our YouTube channel, Chasing Labels. We are working on another on Watch Pile, Steven, right?
Well,
For
yeah,
this month?
hopefully, it depends on when I can schedule the guest. I don't know exactly who I've had to talk to a couple people, but I'm trying to shoot for the last Sunday of the month, right before Halloween. Will be our next on Watch Pile, so we'll see. But that's hopefully in the books, along with some a new interview that we've already brought up with the guys from Behind the Mask. Should be releasing soon. Yeah. You can also find Andrew and me over in the Facebook group as well. Go over there, ask to join. We'll let you in. And there you go. And of course, you can find me also at the other Chasing Labels pages at the Instagram and our X page. And then you can find the audio for the podcast on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and other places. Thanks again for listening, guys. And hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.